start the session today because people are still come, so they might join later, right?
Okay, fantastic.
So yeah, so welcome Dr. Rebekah, and as we all know that today's session is demystifying the festival strategy, and Dr. Rebekah is a festival doctor having a wonderful experience in festival strategy. She's a festival strategist for quite a long time, working with a lot of international festivals, getting a lot of awards for the filmmakers. So I will start with my question to Dr. Rebekah, that if you start today's class briefing us what you feel, what you think this festival strategy means in a broad way, in a simple way. Can you?
So what a film festival strategy is a plan. Basically, it's a plan. So before you start doing any film festival submissions and start to want to get your film on the circuit, it is very important that you have a very streamlined and focused film festival strategy, aka a plan for your film. Now that's not easy, because you have to know what kind of film you have, and if it's a film the festivals are going to want to screen. So for example, if you've made a very commercial film that hasn't got a very, say, groundbreaking story, and it's pretty much a formulaic film, will probably do well when you sell it around the world, but that's not really a festival film. So you've got to make sure that you know your film, that it is a kind of film that festivals want. So what do festivals want? So there are 5 key things that festivals look for when they see a film. That'd be short film, feature film, documentary, any kind of film that's fitted to them. They look for these 5 key things. The first and most important thing for any film is that you have an original, innovative, creative narrative. So you've got a very strong story that is not, as I said, by the numbers and boring. It's something that's different, fresh, innovative, breaks the rules, tries to say, what's the word, shakes up the conventions of the typical kind of narrative structure. So in other words, it's pretty much doing things differently to what you normally expect to see in a mainstream film in the cinema, like a Tom Cruise film, or any of those. So it has to have an edge to it and shows it's taking a risk. The second thing is obviously when it's made, that it's got good sound. You have to have good sound. Thirdly, you have to have good dialogue with a good script. So it can't be just a great idea, but not well executed on the script. Obviously, then it has to be well directed, so well executed and well made. Budget's not an issue. It's just all about how you make it and what you have. And finally is the length. So a short film, it needs to be a short film, it needs to be a short length. Not say 45 minutes, needs to be 20 minutes. So be very ruthless in the edit suite. When you have that winning formula, then festivals are going to be interested in your film. And that's when you can then start submitting to the right ones.
Thank you, Dr. Rebekah. As you are talking about the 5 points, the 5 bullet points about festival strategy, thus take me to the next question, that when you are taking a film for the festival strategy, how do you identify that this film is right for this particular festival? Because you are planning the films for a particular festival. So how do you define that this film is suitable for this particular festival and not other festivals?
So the way that we figure out and resolve that problem is we have to look at what the festival wants. So that's broken down into several elements. One, will the festival programmer like your film? So personal programmer taste. Is it the kind of film that they like to program? Is it the kind of film that they like to watch for their audience? So that is one thing. Secondly, the festival's themes and what kind of films they like to program in terms of genre. Say, for example, a horror film festival, we look at what typical kind of horror films they tend to screen from that genre. So a lot of festivals don't always tend to screen sci-fi. They just focus purely upon horror. Slasher, thrillers, scary films, but not sci-fi and not fantasy. So we look at their previous programs. So we look at what they've screened previously, in their previous festival lineups, what their kind of themes are that they like to program, what kind of topics they like to screen. So for example, there's a women's film festival that we like, and they love films that are about women's issues. They get priority. But then some festivals in that niche, women's festivals, prefer films that aren't, say, feminist or about women's issues. So again, you have to look at what they kind of want. And they do tell you what they want in their About section on the Film Freeway page or on their website. And thirdly, we also look at other festivals which the film is screened at, if that's applicable. So they could be an alumni filmmaker and they had probably their film screened at many of the festivals around the world. And we look at those and then see if it's the kind of film they would like to screen again from their follow-up film or the next film. So in summary, it's personal programmer taste, what our festival contacts tend to like to screen, if it's their kind of movie that they kind of would like to program to their audience, the festival's themes, so their kind of topics they like, the kind of genres they like, and always look at their previous programs. Look at the history tab, and it will show you schedule for 2018, 2017, and it will show you the films that they screened. And if your film kind of fits what they're looking for, so, so they like slashers, they like vampire films, they like feminist films, if they're on the program, and if you've got a film that's like that, there's a chance they're going to probably like it. But the key is always look at the About section. The About tells you what they want, and also tells you what they don't want, because when they don't mention certain genres that they don't want to, that they don't tend to screen, that means don't submit.
Okay, nice thing. Since we are talking about the submission of films to the festivals, and we all know there are the categories of festivals, like some festivals called A category film of festivals, some are called B category festivals, like that. So as a festival doctor, as a festival strategist, as a planner for festival submission, how do you distinguish this between these festivals? Do you find this kind of categories required for a film to submit, or it is kind of it is all open to the people, and this is the concept of the filmmakers to make this is a Sundance is a category film festival, or maybe XYZ is a D category festival, like that? How do you distinguish between these festivals?
This is how we divide them up and distinguish. So category A, we put in tier A, the Cannes Film Festival, the Berlinale Film Festival, Sundance, Venice, and Toronto, aka TIFF. They're the kind of top kind of five in that top A category. And that's because they tend to have all the big films that launch at these festivals, like a launch pad for like big films from big sales agents, big distribution companies, big actors, big directors. And also they have a market. So they have like a market presence. So people can buy and sell films. So for example, Cannes has the Marché de Film, and TIFF has its own market as well. So these are kind of business festivals as well as big festivals to launch a film at. They're going for a very long time, and they're well respected and reputable. So that's what we call the category A. There's not many in there, obviously, because there aren't a huge amount of category film festivals. Category B, I always classify as the regional high-end film festivals that tend to be what we call BAFTA and Oscar level qualifying. If you go online, you can Google Oscar level qualifying film festivals. You can Google BAFTA qualifying film festivals. And also, if you wish, European Screen Award qualifying film festivals. And you'll see in there all of the key festivals which are of that level and which we call the tier B. There's a lot of those, there's more of them, but that gives you a good idea. So for example, CineQuest, that's an Oscar qualifying film festival in San Jose. There's also Bermuda Film Festival, Aesthetica Film Festival, Underwire Film Festival in UK. These are all festivals which screen a lot of high-end, very well-made films that will be screened as well as at Cannes, Berlin as well, probably. But they look for all of the highest high-end, well-made independent films. BFI London is in there, Edinburgh, B's a lot in B's, a lot of festivals that are almost on the A list. But there's quite a big list there. But that I mentioned just now to Google, BAFTA qualifying film festivals, Oscar qualifying film festivals will help you understand what that kind of high-end tier B festival is. Tier C, the third one. So this is a mixture. So this category has new up-and-coming film festivals, which are, you know, getting a good rapport, getting on the map, you know, they're taking care of their filmmakers and their films, they're doing a really good job. So they're kind of new, they're not like that old, probably like, you know, maybe a couple of years old, 3 or 8 years old or more. And they're on the verge of becoming something, could be quite good soon, you know, it's on the right direction. But it also does mean those festivals, which are big festivals or were pretty good at one point, have gone a bit downhill through just poor management or not enough funds or whatever reason. So it has the two kind of parties to it. So a lot of those new festivals that come out that, again, good kind of feedback and good rapport, are kind of what we call the up and coming TSCs. There's quite a lot of those as well. But they're not yet BAFTA qualifying or Oscar qualifying. They're pretty much just fresh and new, and have got the right energy, and are going to go and do big things.
Thank you, Dr. Rebekah. It's a kindly enlightening understanding about this categorization of the film festivals, which is very important. Now, this brings me to the next question, because as a filmmaker, everybody wants to be part of the A category festival. Even a beginner filmmaker making a new for his first debut film, aims and urged to submit his film to a Sundance or Cannes, something like that. So, as a festival director, as a festival doctor, as a festival strategist, what you think is the common mistakes a filmmaker, particularly the beginning filmmaker, the debut filmmaker, make while planning for the festival strategy? What you come across, or this kind of mistakes? What you identify that?
So the biggest mistake that I always come across is when a filmmaker does the scattergun approach. So they go on a platform called Film Freeway, which is where you can submit your film to festivals, which is called filmfreeway.com. It's a brilliant platform. There's many others as well, but this is like the leadership one, is Film Freeway. And what they do is they go on Film Freeway and they just put any old festival into their shopping cart, check out and hope for the best. That is the worst approach, because the scattergun approach will get you nowhere, because you probably from that not submitted the right ones, and it comes all over the place, and it's basically the wrong ones. So it could be you've done Sundance in there, you've done Slam Dance, you've done Tribeca, all these kind of great festivals, but it's what we call, you won't get the results. So you'll waste money, and also when you become attached to one festival you want to get into, like I must get into Sundance, you become attached to Sundance, and you don't get Sundance because you haven't got a Sundance film, and you get disappointed and you lose faith, and that's the wrong thing to do. You must never do that approach, because people who do that get very upset, they get demoralized, they take it personally that people don't like the film, but they haven't looked at what kind of film they have and which festivals want it. They haven't got the plan. So when you submit with that strategy, it can be catastrophic in terms of losing money and not getting results.
Okay, I completely agree with this, because people are very fond of using Film Freeway nowadays, maybe Short Film Depot, the film host, without knowing since they are having a complete pool of film festival at a single platform, they can submit. So coming to my next question from this platform particularly, because these platforms are having different categories of submission fees, early submission, then regular submission, late submission, like that. So as a festival strategist, as a planner for submission, film submission, how do you decide this particular festival is worth submitting the film in comparison to the submission fee they are charging, they are asking? Because as a debut filmmaker, or maybe as a seasoned filmmaker also, submission fee is very important, because it involves money. And if they are paying something and not getting the, at least for the official selection, it is just demoralizing for them. So how do you get this, if I feel that this is the worth submitting the film? So what is your outlook on that?
So first of all, yes, there are, as you mentioned correctly, there are different types of deadlines which come in different prices. So you'll get early bird, which will be very cheap, regular, which will go up in price slightly, and late, which will be more expensive. Now, festival fees vary. Sometimes festivals do a very small, slight increase into their submission fee each time they go up. So they have early bird goes up a little bit, regular goes up a little bit. Some do it drastically, some leave it the same. Some festivals are free to submit to, but not a huge amount. That's mainly in Europe and not so much America and outside of the US. So that's quite interesting in terms of how those change. But the bottom line is, if you submit to a late deadline, it will cost probably more money. And then obviously you'll lose money because there's no guarantee you get into the festival. So the way that I always plan submitting to festivals with my clients is that I always say, right, let's set a submission fee budget. So how much can we afford to spend over 6 months? People say, you know, £500, £1,000, you know, that they always give me that figure. And I say, okay, well, we can work with whatever you've got. We just have to ensure that we submit as early as possible to make it as cheap as possible. Any date deadlines that pop up that are quite expensive, we just wait till next year's festival. If it's a short, that's fine. If it's a feature, it might be a bit complex, but with a short, you're going to be fine. But we just think, well, is it really worth it? You know, it's going to be a high risk. You know, might not have much slots left, you know, at this time of the day. Who knows for a long short film? You just have to really weigh it up and check with the festival. So really, before you do any submissions, you have to then set your budget. How much can you afford to spend on submission fees? Whatever you've got, you can work with, but just always submit early so it's cheap. Don't just say I can only submit to free festivals. That's not going to work. Literally just say, right, I've got this amount of money, let me spend it wisely and make sure all the festivals are suitable for my film so it becomes low risk and I don't lose a huge amount of money during the process, and I'll save some.
Okay, thank you for this answer. Because beside this festival fees, when some filmmaker submit his film to the festivals, he has to or she has to prepare some submission kits, promotional kits like that. So as a festival strategist, do you have any suggestions for making standard promotional kits which to be submitted to the film festivals and which can give them some advantage over the other film submitters, other filmmakers?
So what's very important is that you have these several elements in place. So as you're seeing, when you log into Film Freeway and you join Film Freeway with your film, that you have what's called a project page. And when you submit your film to festivals, film festivals will automatically go to the project page and they'll see that there is your film link, but also they'll see that your synopsis, your director's statement, your bio, and also to the right, there'll be a trailer. There'll be room to upload your trailer, stills, and any social media links. This is a very crucial and important page. So obviously your film's got to be good, but besides that, you need to have a very strong synopsis, not one that rambles for like 10 paragraphs, more one that is very succinct and gives a really punchy like introduction to your film. So you have to really highlight its unique selling points to the festival programmer. So for example, you could start it with, this is a music documentary about a superstar nobody knew called Bruno Wizard. That's a true story. So that already makes them think, oh, okay, so it's about a hidden icon. It's someone that nobody knows. It's a portrait doc, it's music, it's documentary. We have a program for this, so it might be pretty good for us. Some festivals will go like, well, we don't really do music docs, but well, I'll watch it anyway. But they know, you know, they could think, oh, where can we program this? It has to be really like snappy, and no, like, as I say, like not a long rambling one. They won't read that. It needs to be just a paragraph. It's a short and succinct paragraph. Director statement's crucial because that's always useful. They do read them occasionally, and a short biog. But again, keep it short and succinct. Keep it all into a paragraph. You can do a lot in a paragraph for all of this because they haven't got a lot of time to read it. They need to just look at it and go like, wow, and then see the film and go, wow. Always put in your trailer. Always put in stills, not behind the scenes, but stills. And always have a strong poster, one that isn't made up on, you know, Word or Paintbrush, one that is done professionally and gives a strong impression of the film to the film festival when they watch it. And that's also when it gets selected, when it gets selected somewhere, they're going to use those materials on Film Freeway, your synopsis, your poster, your stills, for their brochures and then for their social media. So it's important that that is of a high spec and high end, because that will get the best results for you. This won't be a deciding factor to get into the festival. It all depends upon the film. You need these assets to present yourself professionally to the festival, and also people can then be interested in your film. So that means good networking when you're at the festival, when they see your movie, be like, oh, we love that poster. It was a really cool film and a great trailer, really interesting film. And they want to start talking to you. So you have to have all those elements in place to show strong brand awareness of your film and a strong image to present to your peers.
Okay. I just continuing to this same question. I just want to get a clarification on that. A few festivals or maybe some festival directors are asking for covering letters from the filmmakers. So do you think these covering letters are going to help in some way while they are submitting to the film festivals?
No, and the reason why is because they tend not to get read. I mean, not every single festival will not read them. Some will have the time to, but they're not always taken into account. What they do read thoroughly is your synopsis and your bio. So those are the most important parts. So I wouldn't put so much effort into crafting this beautiful letter because it might not get read and it won't influence them to pick your film. So, for example, you were very determined to tell them, say like to the Mumbai Film Festival, that you're a local Mumbai filmmaker, which they would prioritize. They're going to ask you that in the submission. So they tend to ask a question on Film Freeway and say, where are you located? And are you a regular here? Are you from here? So they already know that information. So I'm going to craft a big letter going, I am born and bred in Mumbai and I deserve to be here, because that's not going to work. It doesn't influence them. It's just something that's nice and courteous, but it won't be a decision-making factor. It goes down to the film, looking at the strong synopsis and everything else, but it is the film, and they won't have time to read a cover letter because they get so many submissions.
Thank you for this answer. Now to my next question, because film festivals are asking for premier status for the films. There are film festivals who ask for premier status for the films. So do you have any suggestion for the filmmakers to maintain the premier status for different categories so that they can submit more festivals with the same, they are asking for premier status?
So yes and no. So it's quite a complex one with premier status. So you'll find that any kind of really strong feature film that will have the potential to get into like the Oscar qualifying film festivals or the bigger ones, they're going to have premiere policies to work around. So for example, festivals that like Cannes and Berlin will request either world or international premiere. So other festivals don't always request that. So it's complex for a feature. So you have to read the T's and C's, the terms and conditions of a festival carefully. But not every festival wants a world premiere. Nobody does nowadays. The big boy festivals do. So Cannes is world premiere for features and shorts. Berlin is world, international, or European premiere for shorts, and for feature, I think it's world international. But the other big boys, such as Toronto, they tend to prefer world premiere, international premiere for a feature, and they request North American premiere policy for a short. These are the big boys. So if you've got a film that's a really good short, it won't be doing the big boys, but it will do, potentially could do some good ones. You'll find that premiere policies are more relaxed. So some festivals like Tribeca and South by Southwest, for shorts, they have a state premiere, or city premiere, sorry. So Tribeca have a New York City premiere policy for short films, which is fine. So you can screen anywhere else in the world besides New York City. So what you could do with your strategy is, if you think you could really get into Tribeca and it's got the legs to do so, then submit to festivals, but maybe not do any in New York that run before Tribeca, do them afterwards, so you'll be able to screen them afterwards. South by Southwest, they have an Austin premiere policy based in Austin, Texas. So that's why I work around that area. So just maybe submit to festivals that are not in Texas before and instead after. So look at each one and then make a note in your strategy what their premiere policy is. You'll find that the tier Cs will not have any premiere policies. Tier 2, they might have some, but not a lot, not that restrictive for shorts. Features potentially, but it would be more local premieres. So for example, the Dallas Film Festival, which is a great festival, they have a Dallas premiere for feature films. So you can do any other part of Texas. So not a Texas premiere, not a North American premiere, it's Dallas premiere. So that's quite flexible. Nashville, a Nashville premiere policy, and that's for features, not shorts. So again, sorry, that is for both, but that's remembered as both. But just check on the film freeway to work around it. And anyone that has a premiere policy, then submit to that festival. But other festivals that are in the same country, maybe just do them after to be on the safe side, or the following year. But it is rare for a short film that there's that much restriction, because even some big festivals that are Oscar level qualifying don't have that premiere policy in place for short films, because they know that needs to keep traveling, and they need to just get their features. The exclusivity for the features is more of their priority. But just check things before you submit, and always make a note of what their policy is. If it's no premiere policy, make that clear on strategy. Just put no premiere policy, and you're free to do whatever you want with that one.
Okay, thank you for this outlook. That now, while so far I was discussing regarding this submission to the film festivals from the point of view of a filmmaker. Now, my next question is a little bit tricky. While you are with your experience with working with the very different film festivals, do you find there are certain tricks the film festivals have under their collar, which they are not disclosing publicly, and then they are using those parameters for their selection process, or maybe their policies, festival policies?
So little secrets. Well, festivals honestly do not know how much space they have in their program. So they welcome loads of submissions. They just don't know how many they're going to receive or how much room they have in their program. And especially in times of COVID, is that even online, they're kind of shifted online. So they're never going to tell you how much you have in their program on Film Freeway. Something they don't know until they're programming. So they keep wanting loads of submissions, but they just can't program all films that they love and would love to screen because of rooms. They can't tell you that in the beginning, so they just don't know. It's no big thing. Another secret is what they don't say is they don't know how many films they can accept, so they can't tell you we will screen X amount of films, because that changes each year. So that's something they can't tell you, not because they don't want to, it's because they don't know. So they're good people, really. Nothing wrong with that. It's just that sometimes they can't tell you because they don't know themselves until the last minute.
Okay, thanks. There's no secret, at least I'm happy that there are no secrets like that. Now, coming back to again from the filmmaker's perspective, just want to know, while you are interacting with the filmmakers as a festival strategies, how do you feel the festival filmmaker should analyze their selection process, the selected number of selections and the number of rejection? How do you how they should react, and what should be the learning out of this entire process of selection and rejection?
So the first thing is to never take rejection personally. There are many reasons why a film didn't get selected for a film festival, and rarely is it because they don't like it. It's again the point I mentioned just now about not enough room. That's such a frequent reoccurring thing that happens, so don't worry about that. And also I would make sure as well that you submit to the right festival, also the right category. So for example, always submit your film to the right category in terms of what it's strongest in. So we have a film right now that's a beautiful documentary shot by a female director, and it tells the story from the point of view of a horse. It's really interesting. And we've got to make sure that we just put everything in for the festivals to be female directed film, because that will really show her talent, because it's a very unique vision she has. But if she put it in documentary, it might get lost. So make sure it's the right category. And if it's not selected for the right category, it's going to be harder to get seen and get in. So make sure that's correct. So always ensure that it's the right festivals, the right category, and don't take things personally, because it doesn't mean it's a bad film. It means it just wasn't enough room, wasn't the right fit for this time, but there will be somebody else going to want it, which will be the right home for it.
Okay. So before I come to the next question, Mr. Abra Das has raised his hand for some question. I think, Abra, can you unmute yourself and ask the question, please?
Hi, Rebecca.
Hi.
No, actually, I was clapping. I mean, I could not agree more to what you just said about rejections because, well, I am a programming coordinator. I work for the NMDC Film Bazaar, and I do get a lot of queries from filmmakers and year round. And a lot of filmmakers do take rejections very seriously when it's just that I totally agree with what you said that sometimes a film does not fit that particular festival. So but sometimes they get too demoralized and they don't look at the other options that are available to them. You know, uh,
Yes. Yes.
right?
No, you're spot on. You're spot on. It has to be, as you say, looking at the bigger picture and thinking outside the box is crucial. So looking at films kind of qualities and what are the niches it could fit in. So for example, we have a short film called The Cunning Man. So it's directed by a woman. There's one angle. It's a fantasy short film, so fantasy festivals, genre film festivals. It's about magic. It's a films that are about fantasy and magic. It's also a very groundbreaking short in its execution and its story, so top tier short film festivals. That's already four. But if your film, you think it has to be short film festivals and the big ones, you're going to miss your niche, another area that people will respond to and celebrate it. You missed out on getting more selections and praise.
Right, right. And my question also was regarding the premier status, especially in a COVID year. For this question is basically for filmmakers who have a film ready. As a strategist, would you suggest what would you suggest a good idea? Should they be waiting around? Should they be waiting for next year, or is it advisable to go for maybe an online festival? Or should they be waiting it out? Because again, certain festivals have started doing hybrid festivals, like BFI London will be hybrid. A couple like Venice is happening, but next year I think I guess Tokyo, a few filmmakers have said that their films have been selected there, but they're waiting it out. But the festival might happen. So as a strategist, what should we be doing at this point? Especially this is a special year of COVID.
The question is, it's COVID year. So first of all, is premier policies are still the same. For the top tier, for the tier B and the C, whatever they are, there's nothing that has changed dramatically. They are being flexible in terms of being online. So when you're going to say your film's to screen online because the festival's going to have to go online, then you can geo-block your film to a certain territory. Say, for example, your film gets into festival in North America, you can geo-block it to just the state or just North America when you ask. You don't want it to cause any other problems with festival premieres that could go live or it could be online. Festivals are being flexible, so you should be okay. You have to just check in with each one, but it's always good just to limit it and not do worldwide, as you can really avoid that. With shorts, you're fine, more or less, most of the time. But just check every single one, because every festival is different. Just be more alert and just double checking. Don't ever stop. The year of COVID has made me realize just how important laurels are for your film and your profile. I mean, we've had a lot of films get into festivals during COVID and lots of submissions, lots of awards for our clients. And it is still the same, just everything's moved digitally, or as you say, hybrid, or eventually will be live, which some people are doing it live, some aren't, but it's all in a different kind of mode right now. So it's important to keep submitting and don't stop, because we don't know when it's going to end. And festivals are going to just keep adapting every day to what they need to do. So festivals have got in place that run next year already have a plan A, go as we are planned to social distancing in place, go hybrid, go online, but they need the content, they need the films, and everything runs as normal, they have awards, everything. So keep going and don't stop. If you're very focused on just live festivals, we don't know what's going to happen. But if you want to do that, I wouldn't wait. I would still keep submitting. Festivals that run next year might have more of a chance of going, fully live and slowly back to normal. But just don't give up, because things are changing every day. And the hybrid model you mentioned is working great. So that's really well tried and tested, thanks to Venice, next TIFF. The festivals are doing it too. So don't stop and just keep going and plan properly as you would in the first place. Submit as you would, embrace the laurels, and win awards.
Thank you, Rebekah.
Thank you,
Thank you, Mr. Abra. Taking cue from Rebekah's few words, I just want to come to the next question. My question is, do you feel this festival strategist, like you or maybe some other people like working for the festival strategy, are very important part of a filmmaker's team, or maybe for
Yes,
the success?
absolutely. Absolutely, absolutely integral, because our expertise and that's why we're leaders of our niche, is that we know the circuit. So we know how the circuit works and what goes on behind the scenes, how festivals program, what they like, what they want. We have a lot of connections to festivals and know what goes on the scenes and how they program things. So every festival is different, you'll find. So it's important to have that bespoke touch and bespoke approach when doing a festival strategy and getting your film into festivals is very important.
Fine. Then extending to this same question, uh, how do you think, at what point of time this the filmmaker should consult the film festival strategies? Either it is before the festival, before they start the filmmaking, or once they complete the post production and then they ask for this. What will the best point?
I find several approaches. So I think it's very important to get someone like myself and me attached to your film project in development so that we can get us in the budget early. So when you start raising funds, we're already in it, and you've got money for festival fees, making a poster, making your materials, for hiring us, all that kind of thing. So it's there and you're not going to be end of it, oh, we haven't got any money. If it is the point where you've made the film and now it's next steps, and you think about festivals now, that's fine as well. Get us involved at picture lock of your film so we can give feedback on it, we can see it, and then we can give our opinion and make it to the next level. So I'd say either's fine. I mean, if you've got no funds to work with us, we can't work with you, obviously. But if you can find the funds when you're close to finishing the film and start doing festivals, we can work with you. Picture lock's always good so we can give you feedback and maybe change things before you lock it completely. And development's great to get attached early so that we're in the budget, and then when you're ready to go with the funds and the film is almost finished, we'll get on board and start doing our work. But any kind of level you're at, just always put money aside for film festivals and going around the circuit, because it does cost money. There are actually 3 budgets I would plan for. So one is your festival submission fee budget and hiring people like me, so me obviously. Put money aside for fees, money aside for our consultancy fees and our management fees. The second budget is your materials budget. So that's money to spend on getting a poster made, a trailer made, a DCP made, so your digital cinema package to present your film at festivals, to get screened in the cinema. Money aside for making a press kit, if you might need that. Money for marketing, if you want that, PR as well. And the third one is traveling around festivals. I know we can't quite do that now, so, but limited where we can go. But when it does get back to the point where we can travel a bit more easily or whatever, it's good to have money aside later on for when you can do that. So you can just go ahead and travel and not have to worry about having to put money aside to find money on your credit card to travel on a plane somewhere and staying in Airbnbs. So they are those budgets to think about, and it's good to think about those in development in the finance phase so that you don't end up having no money to do anything. Or, some people do have limited amounts of funds they can do, but they have some money aside to do the next thing they want to do.
Okay, thank you. I think Mr. Ankit has certain question. So can you unmute yourself and ask the question, please?
Hello, just thanks to Rebecca for doing a great discussions, and it's something very enriching. Just I want to add something, or you can say it's a question too. The thing is that many of the filmmakers try to connect the programmers or connect the peoples of film festivals and ask them and request them to program their films or something like that, this and that. So as a programmer by myself, I feel it's bit annoying, because when you get requests from many people, it becomes something which is not acceptable. So what do you think? Is it good for a filmmaker to approach each and every programmer, festival directors by their texting in their messenger or anything, or is it right to connect festival strategies or a person who can help you in a proper way to reach the festival?
So I don't think it's a good idea for directors and filmmakers to reach out to festival programmers that they haven't got a relationship with. If it's a cold email via Film Freeway and you plead poverty, like I've got no money left in my budget, I need a waiver, it doesn't have the right energy or vibration. So I would avoid that for sure and literally just, you know, submit to the ones you can afford and not expect or request waivers because they can't always give them. Only connect with them or reach out to them again if you're an alumni. So if you've had a film there before at that festival, you would be entitled to discount or a waiver because you had a previous film there. So that's a little bit different. I'd only reach out to festival programmers if you know them. I mean, obviously my whole business and my whole system is we have strong relationships with festival programmers. So we can reach out and have that conversation. And we often quite a lot request fee waivers and ask any discounts available for our clients to save them money, and they always give us some. So yes, because we know them. If you don't know them, it's not the right kind of approach, and it doesn't have the right impression when you're requesting, you know, things for free. It's not the right kind of thing. If they find your film online, like Instagram or something, and they want to see it, they will probably give you a discount or a waiver. We'll let them approach you, and then you can then build a relationship up. And as you say, that you're a programmer too, aren't you? So you probably think it's obviously quite annoying when people do that because you're trying to run a business, trying to run a festival. People who want things for free or have that demanding energy and expect things, and it's not how that system works. You know, you can get waivers and discounts if they approach you or you know them, or they do an offer on their email lists or online. But keep them obviously close together because you're close with them. You want to start building a bond, but don't expect things to change the way you want them to, or want all these freebies if you don't know them. It's about relationship and trust building.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're very relaxed down there and chilled out. It's chilled. It's like, wow, he's having a good lay on the sofa. Oh, you're muted. There you go.
Fine.
Yes.
Thank you, Ankit, for the question and asking the question in a very relaxed manner. I request Mr. Ali, Mr. Muhammad Ali, to just unmute yourself and ask the question, please.
Everybody, and I have a question. Actually, every festival is like films. I know like they get thousands and thousands of films every year. Does they really watch all of it?
Sorry.
And my second question about the something that you do for them. Like what you do often, you upload the history, photos to all of the pictures. So how they get the history from us? So we take about them or does this thing like have more evidence? I don't think like in that approach right because we have to convert it to a testimony something that they don't find my approach to the ideal position of watching the film.
I couldn't hear that question unfortunately because of the connection. Yeah, it was poor connection. Do you want to type the question in the chat and I can answer it when it pops up? That might be best because I couldn't hear it. Sorry, it's breaking up. I'll answer it when it's in the chat.
I think Mr. Akash, can you ask the question, please, since Mr. Ali asked.
Hi, Rebecca, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Hi. So good session so far. My question is related to my experience with my friends who are entering the film and who have entered into the Oscar qualifying film festival. So when I spoke to them, their strategy was that my friend literally when he was at the scripting stage, he went on different websites of the festivals and sort of jotted down the genres or the topics like which they accept more. So is there a readily available, maybe a list or or some sort of data which would guide you that these are the like a more analytical document which would tell you that these are the topics or these are the genres which are more in demand or more at a higher probability of getting selected?
Not really. The best thing to do is to check the festivals that you want to submit to and that are on your radar, on your wish list, and look at the kind of films that they want, like your friend did. There isn't anywhere available that has a list of what are the most popular films, kind of films to get into festivals, because they vary. I mean, documentaries are popular documentary festivals and also general festivals if they're edgy enough or about somebody famous. A lot of the time you'll find, if I use genre as an example, like horror genre, then a lot of festival programmers are a bit tired of found footage films. Has to be more creative found footage films to actually get a place in a festival program.
Sorry, say that again. Sorry, say that again. I didn't get that.
Found footage films. Do you know?
Oh, found footage.
The Blair Witch.
Yeah.
But they have to, because there was so many of them after Blair Witch, and people got bored. Festivals didn't like them. They got loads of submissions. To the point where they just were like, stop. Only a few of them were like slightly original. I think the best one that came out after Blair Witch that was found footage was a film called VHS that was very clever. Other ones weren't like that. So if any kind of trends, you'll find them on Instagram and social media feeds, maybe not so much LinkedIn, but Instagram especially, that you'll find then there'll be, you know, certain festivals might mention the kind of films that they're seeing a lot of recently. And they, you know, they might say like, oh, we're getting a surge of submissions which are period dramas. You know, think, oh, okay, there's a new trend's happening. You know, film school, high school film school kind of films, whatever, this kind of thing. So these are all, just keep an eye on the prize in terms of social feeds and see what people are mentioning, see what that gets in. But they're not saying to you, we want more period drama films. They're saying these are pretty much getting a lot of these. They might not all be very good. Might be a handful that are good. But it's just a lot of, and it could be wise then to think, okay, they're getting a lot of this. Maybe I should give them something more creative and original that's not going to be what they keep getting sent because they want to stand out from the.
Makes sense, ma'am. Just one follow-up question to that. What are your thoughts about more regional cinema? Like that's one thing which I've been pondering more on. That do regional, more grounded stories stand a higher chance? Do you think so as well?
It depends on the execution. So, for example, we have a lot of films that we represent that are from South Africa. And some of these films we receive, we can't always work on because they're too local. So they only appeal to the South African audience. They can't travel outside of the Afrikaans niche or the Zulu niche, or the story is literally a story that only will make sense and appeal to people in South Africa. So those films don't travel. But some films we get are a story that is more universal, has a wider appeal, is interesting, and can actually go further afield. So a film we have called Beyond the River, screened at Busan, Italian Black Nights, big festivals around the world. It was a brilliant film from South Africa, and the story was obviously about two South African people and them winning a boat race. But it was the interaction between them and the characterization, the dramatic story, everything. It was a brilliant film, and it played everywhere so well because it could translate around the world. So it's important that your film isn't too regional because people won't get it. You have to make sure it has appeal that can travel, a story that touches everyone's hearts, and it will get seen around the world and show that to your peers that you make films that are international and not national, domestic.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Akash. I think Mr. Ali used to ask this question. He just put it on the chat box. I just read it for you. Mr. Ali wants to ask the question. His question is the big festivals actually watch all the films submitted, or how do they decide? I mean, they get thousands of films. If they don't watch it all, how to make them watch my film? It's a very common question, actually, I think.
Yes. So with the big boy festivals, they don't need to rely, these festivals like Cannes, Berlin, Sundance, Tribeca, South by, They don't need to rely on Film Freeway to create their festival program. They come after that, and people who watch that they do watch it. They are the assistants or the juniors or first level programmers. So how they program their festival is that they first of all approach alumni filmmakers, people like me, agents who film for festivals. They approach sales agents who are selling films that are looking for a premiere, distribution companies that are trying to launch a movie before they release it. They also approach film schools they're connected with, like NFTS in UK, Sundance Institute, all these kind of connections. Then they also look at their colleagues and friends of theirs who've got films that could be good. Then they come to Film Freeway last. Now, how it works with Film Freeway, all the submissions loads of submissions get on Film Freeway. The way that they manage it is that the not minions, but the assistants, the new filmmakers, or they're not minions, they're people who are great at what they do, but they're just learning it at the junior level, first level. They'll watch them and then they'll rate the film like 1 star, 2 star, 3 star, 4 star, 5 star. Any film that is 4 or 5 star will go to the senior programmer. They've got to watch the films that are terrible. They haven't got the time to do that. That's what the first level ones do. So it'll get seen, but in order to get it seen by the right people, first of all, who are senior programmers, you have to have somebody lobbying for it. So people like me, that's what we do, or connections there, your own connections to that festival. It will get watched, but if it's the film for that festival, they're going to love it, then it's worth it lobbying and going the extra mile. If it's not going to be for them, it's no point putting energy into it.
I think Mr. Ali got his answers. I'm just coming to the session so far. I'm just enjoying this session. I was really excited before this this Demystifying Film Festival session started, and I really enjoyed so far. I think Dr. Rebekah also enjoyed the session so far, and other people, the people joined here. Now I'm coming to my next question, other than the last question, because since we are the entire session, we are discussing about the importance of film festival strategies and the people who are working for this, particularly planning funda of these film festivals. Is there any professional course available in anywhere in the world who can teach or make people understand the nitty-gritty of film festival strategy? Is there anything like that?
I actually have an online course. So in addition to offering our services, which are one-to-one, we have one-to-one consultations. We also offer a service where we can take your film on and manage it. So we have those as well, which I can give you more information on in the chat shortly. But we also have recently launched an online course. So what that online course is, it's called How to Create a Solid Film Distribution Strategy for Your Film. So it's called Film Distribution Strategies Made Easy. So we tell you how to build and create a strategy that includes PR, how to get PR for your film when at a festival, how to integrate that into your plan, how to integrate sales and distribution, and also how to integrate, obviously, film festivals into this whole big strategy. And it's 3 sessions, once a week for 3 weeks. And the next course runs in November. And there is currently a special price online, which is in £297 for the course. And it's really, really good because it just tells you all you need to know on a bespoke level, like one-to-one. It's not part of a number, you're part of a, what's the word? You're part of an individual, you're not really part of a group, although it's group coaching, it makes you feel like you're not, always give you extra time together. And yeah, so the next one will be in November. And we're looking now, taking applications now for the next course. And we can't wait to run it. And you're all welcome to join. You can have a film that's finishing post, finishing production, whatever level. You've got a film, you want to get it out there. You want to know, if you want to know how to sell it, you want to know how to get it out there and promote it, you want to get to festivals. This covers the key things you need to know so that you get it seen. And I'll give you a link in a minute. I'll do it in the chat. But there are 2 questions which I've just noticed in the chat, which I will answer now.
Yeah.
So from Rabina John, so the question is, how does one figure out the right length for your film? So in order to do that, you have to make sure that your film justifies that length. So we have a short film that's 40 minutes. Okay, that's pushing it, obviously. A lot of short films tend to be between, you know, anything between 8 and 15 minutes of good programming length, but your film needs to be that, just about that length. So you'll find that some short films that are 50 minutes could be a bit shorter and just a bit more punchier. So be ruthless in the editing suite and think, does this film need to be half an hour or 20 minutes or 40 minutes? If it's yes, then keep it. Don't want it to lose its uniqueness and lose its story. You need to make sure that it is the right length to tell the story and justifies that length. But when people watch it, they're going to think, well, this could be 10 minutes shorter, so it won't get in. So some people think we just need to make a film that's 8 to 11 minutes, but not necessarily. Tell and write your story, and when you're in editor suite, you'll know what to tweak and what to shorten, and then it'll be the length it needs to be. So with a feature length doc, as you mentioned, Ravina, well, of course, yes, it needs to be the length it needs to be. But you just need to make sure that it needs to be that length. So if it's say 80 minutes and it needs to be 80 minutes, keep it 80 minutes. If it actually you get feedback, people say there's a bit long in between, it starts to drag, it needs tightening up, then tighten it up and make it a bit shorter, and then it will get selected, because it won't be that one of those films that's way too long. Ishtira, so what should be the strategy for student filmmakers? Since we don't end up showing films for sales, visibility, and can't afford to professionals festivals, and also new to the whole networking thing. So there are festivals which are for student filmmakers. If you Google them, or if you find them on Film Freeway, you'll see them all come up. And they'd be the good ones for you, because a lot of them want certain types of student films to tell a certain type of story. They'd be the best route to take. So if you look for student festivals, go and submit your film to those. That way you've got more of a chance of getting in, because it's for that right audience and for the right kind of awards and recognition that you would want from it. And with Abraha, so your mid-length films, you'll find with documentary films, they do have a place at festivals for films that are mid-length between 40 and 60 minutes. And they tend to be what we call the mid-length film length. So that's easy enough. They're not always the easiest to program. It's a bit of a funny length. So then it might go into a category of shorts, might not get selected. So you'll find that festivals focused upon documentary will have a category to submit to, which are for mid-length films. Put it into that one. If it though could do with being a bit shorter, then make it a bit shorter to go into their short film category. If it could be longer, then make it longer to go in the feature film category. Just check each one what their running times are. 60 minutes onwards tends to be a feature nowadays, so that's okay for a feature, but anything that's mid-length is a bit more difficult to program sometimes, so ensure that it is festivals that do program that length of films, more of a chance of getting selected. They do program films of that length, but it can limit your journey if you submit to the wrong ones who don't program films that length. So ensure you check the T's and C's and ensure that the film needs to be that length, or if it could be shorter, make it shorter to go into the short film category.
Thank you, Rebekah, Dr. Rebekah. And I think anybody else have any question, they can unmute themselves and ask the question directly to Dr. Rebekah.
So here is, I'm going to put it in the group chat. Here is my, I've seen the links. I'm going to send now my link to my website and also the online coaching course I mentioned. So that's going to be in here now and answer those other questions. There you go. So thank you, Latika. Great session, much appreciated. What can one do if they have made a good film, don't have a huge amount of festival budget? I would say in that case to really be ruthless on where you submit. If it's a film that might not screen your film, it might be a bit of a few and far between. I haven't got many documentaries or many films that are about, I don't know, about sci-fi, then maybe don't do that and don't waste the money. Put it into festivals that will embrace the kind of film you've made and have lots of room for it, and a bigger general festival that have lots of programs. That would be my way to save money. So don't go on the high risk, it might get in, it might be a bit of a long shot. Don't do that, because then you'll just waste money. festivals do tend to watch all the films. I mean, obviously, if you upload to your Film Freeway account, this is Abdi's question. If you upload your film on Film Freeway using your Vimeo link with a link and a password, if you have the Vimeo account, which you can see who's watched it, then you'll see. But you'll find sometimes that when festivals click on that, it doesn't always come up. But I wouldn't worry about that. I mean, you can ask them for feedback if you want after the festival, but they're going to watch it. It's just going to be, you know, maybe not the time you think it might be later in the day, who knows, but it will get seen, you know. It's rare that people don't watch films. It might not be watched by the senior level programmer, but watched by somebody who's going to watch the films that come in through Film Freeway. Manoj, do international co-productions get priority at film festivals? Sometimes. I wouldn't say just specifically co-pros. It's more a case of who's selling it and who's distributing it. They might have deals with the festival and they might have a connection with them to put certain films in. So potentially, but a lot of that you mentioned, Canal Plus, etc. They'll be from the sales agent and distribution company more than a co-pro. It might not be a big thing if it's co-pro. It might just happen to be a co-pro kind of thing. But no, it's not priority. It's just who's selling it. Can I just take a picture of this? I'm going to put it for my Instagram story. Thank you. Let's just put now, that's quite, oh, I'm just doing one where I'm not closing my eyes. Fabulous. It's so nice. There you go. Yeah,
over more than an hour we are discussing, but we don't know how the time passes so far. And as we come almost at the end of the session, today's session, is there any other question anybody wants to ask? Please do so. So that
I have a small question. Can you hear me, sir? Am I clear?
Yeah, Mr.
Yes.
You're clear. Yeah.
Okay. Ma'am, my question is like while you wrap up your film, you make a DCP and then you send to the festival an online copy, which is not DCP, which is not DCI-P3, which is could be 709 or whatever it is in color. So actually, I always wondered about the watching condition, like when they watch to select the film. Might my image did not get seen correctly, you know, like that always comes to my mind. So I want to really ask, like, what the scene condition in the festival, what technical things we have to send to them, what color space thing, because as you know, DCP has like a larger, greater dynamic range, which will so see the real image. But while you're converting, you don't know what speaker they are using or what screen they are watching your film. So you have to also make a copy which is fit in that screening of them to watch the film. I'm not talking about the final screening in festival. This has always wondered me. Thank you so much.
Okay, so when it comes to submitting your film to a film festival, a private Vimeo link or uploading a high-res file upload to your Film Freeway page is enough. When it comes to exhibition, so getting your film screened at a cinema, a lot of the time for feature films, you'll get asked to send a DCP. Other times they might ask for a H.264 MPEG file, which you can send on Dropbox, simple DCP, CineSend. So it's always useful to have a DCP because they do request them a lot of the time now for short films, because sometimes the cinemas can only screen DCP and it's a very common format. Back in the day, when I first started the company up in 2010, we'd have other options like Digibeta and a HD cam and a HD cam SR and DVD and Blu-ray, but a lot of the time now it's pretty much stripped down to DCP, H.264, MPEG-4, or file uploads. That's kind of what it really is now, to be honest. So much choice before and so much to organize, but pretty much stick to that. Get a really good DCP made and ensure that it's the best it can be.
Thank you so much.
Welcome. You're all welcome. Thank you very much. It's been fun. Please do connect with me, and I'll put now my Instagram. So I'm at Rebekah Film DR on Instagram. Follow me on that. Obviously, ask me questions there, and we'll give you our brochures for what we do with our services. So we have different types of services. They're not all the same price. Management packages do tend to be a little bit more expensive than the consultancies that we offer. And the course is obviously a special rate right now. It's always something we can help you with. We have a shop with ebooks. So, you know, there's always something you can do on there. Have a look around the website and have a good day shopping and then getting your film seen.
Okay, thank you. I think that Mr. Pratik is having any question. So can I ask Mr. Pratik to just unmute and ask the question, please?
Yeah, hi Shubhankar, hi Rebecca.
Hi.
More than anything else, I don't have a question. I just want to say that you know, I really enjoyed the session and it was very insightful for a filmmaker like me, who is, you know, on his way to make films and independent films. So it gave me a lot of insights. So thanks to Artist Integrated and thanks to you, Rebecca, for you know, taking us through this conversation.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to connect with you. Really good time.
Yes, yeah. And thank you, Pratik, for putting some good words for Artist Integrated. We intend to meet in the month of March, but unfortunately, this pandemic, we have to cancel the meeting. So maybe in the near future, we can go to Mumbai and meet you.
Yes. We're looking forward to having you guys over to Mumbai and cheers and kudos to all the great work that you guys are doing. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank
Very
you.
much.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Because Artist Integrated is always helping filmmakers to join, breaking the barriers and making they're aware of, which are not being taught in the film schools mostly, because this kind of things like festival strategy is not a part of any film school curriculum, but it's very important for the filmmaker's success in life as in their career. So I think, is there any other questions? So if they have any questions, otherwise we can wind up today's session here.
This is Tara Qureshi from London. I do have a question.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Hi.
Hi. I'm in sunny Bulgaria at the moment.
Oh, nice.
And thank God I got an email reminding me, otherwise I would have forgotten. Okay.
Nice to have you here.
Okay. Distribution. Should you start talking to a distributor when you've got a film at the development stage, or should you wait until you've got a completed film and then approach a distributor?
I would say approach a sales agent or a distribution company when you have your film at a point where you have a notable or talkable cast attached and some money. That will get them more interested in the film, and also maybe potentially could then give you sales estimates to present for more funding to be completed. I wouldn't go with just a script, even though it might be the best script in the world or might be very good. There's not enough for them to have a hook to actually get more involved and to do more with it. It needs to be a packaged product which has cast attached that can help them sell the film at this stage, and some money available, maybe soft money, but something you have already to show it's going to be going forward soon. Just needs a parts. That would be my point of view from that. I've seen lots of filmmakers send scripts and it gets them nowhere because it's not enough. It's not developed enough.
Yeah, but also since over the last, I think, 10 years, ever since streaming channels came on board, a lot of distributors and sales agents have access to finance, and they develop their own projects as well. So that's something to bear in mind as somebody who's a filmmaker, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. No, it is true. But again, they need that kind of sellable kind of hook in that pitch and that cast. But yes, they do like do their own products. They can then distribute it themselves and make more money. So yeah, it's a money machine.
Exactly. Okay, thank you very much for your time. I believe this is the end of the session.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Okay.
Thanks, Tarek. See you.
You're welcome. Bye.
Bye.
Okay. Anybody else has any question right now? You can raise the question, please. I think there's somebody in the... thank you, Latika, for this good words for Artists Integrated. Yes, Artists Integrated is basically a media startup based in Kolkata in India, who are basically working for the filmmakers to bring them a platform so that they can have their films shown across the world, various film festivals. And thanks to Dr. Rebekah for her agreement for this masterclass. And with the experience I have, particularly today's session, I am looking forward to have some more classes like this in the future. Maybe some specific, since we have this session today in a very broad, in a broad area, but when maybe the next session, maybe a very specific point we can discuss. So I think that will be a good thing to do, because for the filmmakers, today or 15 people are here joined. So I'm going to share this thing, the recordings. We are already having the recordings. So we'll be going to share this recording to the Artists Integrated page as well as our YouTube channel. So we can, the other, the participants as well as the people who are not, could not join this session today, they can refer to this discussion, learn from this. And I personally thank Dr. Rebekah for this session and it's taking up time. And thank you everybody who have joined here. So I'm with this, let's close this session for the day, and maybe meeting you soon, some very soon the next month.
Brilliant.
Hi, this is Tariq again. I've got a quick question for the organizers.
Yeah.
I would like to have a conversation with you because I'm running some online courses at the moment.
Okay.
So I'd like to know how we could work together. Rebecca has all my contact details.
Yeah.
So if you could
Mr. Qureshi, you can you received the mail from our site, so you have our
yes.
email ID, so can put forward
All
your
right.
so it is directly come to me and my office people, so my team can take up that thing and we can go forward the discussion like that. So we'll have this.
Yeah, well, what I'll do is I'll give you a call today. I'll drop you an email.
Sure.
And in the next 2 to 3 hours, we'll have a call on WhatsApp.
Sure. That can be done.
All right, great. Thank you very much. Ciao now. Bye.
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 So with this, thank you all for the participants. Let the call a day. So bye-bye to Dr. Rebekah. Bye-bye to all of you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Nice to meet you all.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
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 Bye-bye.